Hey guys, welcome back to Redbanditracing. Welcome back to the channel. And in this video, we got the MAXX here and we had some motor issues. So let me pop this off real quick so I can show you kind of what happened. As you can see, I've already had to take the motor apart. After we did RC Clash 9, we actually went out, we wanted to film a jumping video showing you guys how to jump a ramp for those of you who maybe have never jumped a ramp before. And I hit the ramp 2 or 3 times and landed just fine. And on the last landing, I had no power. So I went and checked everything out and I couldn't find anything wrong, but when I plugged the battery back in and started to throttle a little bit, it felt like the rear wheels were dragging. So didn't know what was going on. So I came back, inspected all, couldn't find it. Flipped it over, took the skid plates off and looked at the front and rear axles. I looked at the differentials, the center diff. I couldn't find anything wrong. It really almost seemed like I was, maybe a rear diff had blown up, and that's not the case. So what I did was I took out the spur gear and the transmission input gear, and the second I took that out, I went ahead and nice and quiet, everything was free. So I thought, okay, it's the motor, let me take the motor out. So I went ahead and took the motor out, and it felt really bad, like something was definitely binding inside that motor. So I actually took a clip of it before I sent it into Traxxas. I'll show you that right now. So I took the back cap of the motor off, and when we took that back cap off, you can see the damage that was done. Traxxas went ahead and let me know that one of the magnets came loose in the motor, and that's the aftermath. So I went ahead and sent the motor in the Traxxas, and granted, this truck is 15 months old, definitely well out of warranty. They still have a really good replacement program on your motors. So sending my motor in and getting a brand new Velineon motor, part number 3461. This is a $120 motor. I got it for 60 bucks. So it's essentially 50% off. I didn't expect them to replace it for free. So $60, that's really not that bad. I'm glad it happened during the making of how to jump a ramp, because I would hate to have this happen when my wife takes it out to do RC Clash 10. That would have been really bad for the motor to fail then. So, I mean, that's it. This thing is still pretty much bulletproof, and we just, unluckily, you know, we just had a magnet fail on this. So, all right, so if you guys haven't seen how to put a motor in the MAXX yet, I'll just show you real quick. It should be a really quick process, but let's go and throw this in. All right, so let's go and open this bag up. All right, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put this collar on right here that helps to hold the wires and helps to secure the motor down. Slide that on. Then we're gonna grab our heatsink. There you go. Now you're gonna want this end right here. You can see how it's shaped right here. So you're gonna want this end on the back side, because the wire loops and everything go on that side of the motor, because the wires go on the right side of the car. Now we're gonna have to make sure that's pressed in. Now this piece, this is the bracket I'm gonna put it on. Pretty much goes on somewhat like that. So that lines up, put that in. All right, now I'm gonna take my 2.0 and I'm just gonna go ahead and start each one. All right, now I got them started. Now I'm gonna go ahead and crank them in. Make sure those are cranked down nice and tight. That Loctite dries up, it's not gonna go anywhere. All right, now that we got that on nice and tight, we're gonna go ahead and put this collar on. Just like that. Make sure the holes line up on the bottom. You wanna make sure it's the heat sinks turn just a little bit, because you got to make sure that it's not in the way of this screw hole right here. So it may be close to right there. Actually, that's perfect, because that way when these wires go through, it's not going to touch, and you have room for the hole to screw your motor down. All right, get that tightened down, and these that's it. Just put them down tight, don't crank on them. It's just going into plastic, and it's just there to hold your wires. So now that we got that on, let's go ahead and get our pinion started. Put some Loctite right there. I'm gonna get this motor started. I already got Loctite. I already got put a little bit of Loctite on the set screw. There you go. Got that started just like that. So now let's go ahead and put the fan on real quick. Have the wire facing the inside of the car, not the outside. So it's gonna go on, and we're gonna hook it. These are also your 2.5. And these also, just make sure they're hand tight. And that's it, got that all rebuilt. All right, so now we're gonna go put our motor in. I didn't take the pin out. So the pin to set the mesh is still in. And since this is a stock 2350 gearing, All you have to do is make sure it's in the D hole. Don't laugh. So right here you got A, B, C, D. So we're gonna leave it in there. And all you're gonna do is we're gonna set this motor. You kind of have to feel for it when you're putting it in. Right there. All right, so now that that's in, I'm gonna go ahead and flip it over so I can put the bottom screws on. Those are your 2.5s. Do not put any Loctite on these because it is going into plastic. You're gonna carefully flip that over while keeping it in. I'm gonna get this one as started as I can. That way it kind of holds the motor in place a little bit while I do the other one. Just kind of drop it in there. There we go. These are going to make sure they're tight, but you're not going to crank down on too much because you're not really not going into metal. Still going, there we go. Right there. Especially with plastic, when you're going into plastic, you can actually feel it kind of skip because it's kind of squeaking by right there. Stop right there. You don't want to go too much. All right, now that the motor's secure, we'll go ahead and quickly plug the fan back in. There you go, now that the fan's plugged back in. I really hate this. I don't know how much you guys hate this, but this thing always falls out. You literally need to zip tie that in there because this thing just keeps popping out like that. But anyways, let's go ahead and do this. We're gonna go ahead and fish these wires through here real quick. Just like that, and we'll go and plug the motor back in. So yeah, we got that right there. That's nice and secure. Usually goes back like this, so the back end tucks down, and it kind of tucks right there, so the body kind of protects it. All right, so let's go ahead and get our bearings back on here, onto our spur gear and our transmission input gear. I'm gonna go ahead and drop this guy right back in there, just like that. Now what we're gonna do is, we're gonna rotate this a little bit. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my 2.0, I'm gonna loosen it. Here we go. Had to break it loose a little bit. Crank that down. Let's make sure that's lined up. Yep, this screw is lined up on the motor, and I've centered as much as I can on that spur gear. And you want to make sure you check your mesh, and that's perfect. That may sound like it's a lot, but that's actually really good for this. So that's pretty much it. We're gonna throw our cover back on, and I'll get the rest of this buttoned up and ready to go. All right, so that's it. Quick install. I'll get the other screws in for the motor mount off camera. It's getting a little dark, but I just wanted to make a quick video on this because we haven't had a lot of big issues happen with the MAXX. That's actually the first. I'm surprised that the ESC hasn't gone out, which don't jinx me. I hope that at least the ESC doesn't go out because I know a lot of people have replaced those and put the hobby wing in. I don't see the point in that. I like Traxxas's. We don't have any problems with them. The only other problem that we had was with the eRevo, and Traxxas is extremely good on their warranty. So I did not mind spending 60 bucks on a brand new motor for this because this truck is going to last for a long time. That'll do it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.